me just add a chat real quick, if I even can. I don't even know how to. I guess I can't. Well, that sucks. Okay. Alright. Welcome to the stream. Drone Outlook. Ever seen a claim split with an attached file? Listed as doc type, rating decision, rating code sheet, August 8th, 2014. My primary claim is pending because it's an extra claim. My claim has all my submitted info, and the second, created by VA the same day, has nothing but the file claim token. Yeah, Drone, I assume you're looking at the internal correspondence of the VA and checking your claim all the time. I would absolutely stop doing that because a lot of those codes mean the VA's talking to each other. There's a lot of context I'm missing here as to what exactly is going on. But it seems like you're just, yeah, thanks, John. It seems like you're looking at the internal correspondence between the VA sections, sectors, if you will, and I wouldn't sweat that at all. The good news is your claim is moving. Ask me your VA disability questions. Daniel Gillen says hello. What up? Welcome, Daniel. LJZ says since 2021, service connected for hemorrhoids at 0% will automatically be increased to 10%. No, you have to submit the increase. Okay, not a supplemental. You have to submit the increase. Whenever changes go into effect, you have to submit the increase. Bob Williamson, how do you become a member? There should be a join button somewhere. I honestly don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like on the, I don't want to touch anything because last time I did, I shut the live off. King Logic, I have severe obstruction, sleep apnea, but I can't get sleep apnea rating. Yeah, so just having sleep apnea doesn't mean anything. It's just one of the big three. For every claim, you have to have the in-service event, the current diagnosis, and the Nexus. You have the current diagnosis, which is one of three, right? You still need that in-service event or the Nexus. Now, for sleep apnea, it's very, very common to go secondary. And so when you look at sleep apnea secondary, which is a difficult claim, regardless of who tells you it's not, I'm telling you it is. You have to look at correlating factors and what does your sleep apnea stem from? Is it your PTSD? Is it your asthma? Is it your sinusitis? I mean, what there is leading to your sleep apnea, right? It could also be you have a severe lower spine condition that caused you to be obese, and obesity is linked to sleep apnea, right? Yeah, just weird to see a document. Yeah, Drone, it is. It's just it's VA internal communications. I wish the VA would just stop. When it comes to transparency, that's not what we want in transparency. That's just clutter. Jessica Martinson, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I am on my phone only, so I don't have my laptop with me. So if you comment, I'm not going to be able to see it, Jessica, but I definitely appreciate that very much. Good news is it's up at the top, so we'll get to it here in a second. But thank you, Jessica. All right, Todd Thorin, can I submit more than one claim when I create an intent to file? Yeah. Your intent to file, let's say you did it January of this year, you can have 50 claims on there. This is just a hypothetical, right? You can have X amount of number of claims, and it's fine. Once you submit it, that intent to file is burned with whatever it is that you submitted. Does it matter if a Nexus is written by an MD and not a PhD doc? So PhD, there's no such thing as a PhD doc, okay? As far in the medical community, right? So a psychologist is a doctor of psychology, not necessarily a psychiatrist who goes to med school. Does it matter? The answer is yes. One carries more weight than the other, but like saying, can a psychologist write a Nexus letter and be service connected? Absolutely, okay? Is a psychiatrist better? Absolutely. And it also depends on what condition you're talking about, Danny. So let me know what condition you're talking about. I can make some recommendations. I have my partnerships, that's transparent. You can also find your own. Up to you. Robert Long, hypertension, they say it's controlled by meds. Yep, and that is a whopping fat 0%, maybe 10, depending on what we're talking about here. There are quasi-presumptives to hypertension, like like hardening of the kidney, heart condition, and stroke, I believe. That's off the top of my head. Boss Girl Zoe, can a trans woman pre-op receive SMCK? The ED has been present since before hormones and after MSC report was filed. I don't know if that context has any relevance there, you know? Is the organ that's not the reproduction organ that's not working as intended, right? If that's due to service, submit the claim. If it's due to something else, all right. Shout out to VA Claims Tracker extension. Yes, okay. Yeah, the VA Claim Tracker, and I have a video on that if anyone wants to look at that. The VA Claim Tracker tool was pretty solid. It's an extension with Google Chrome and Edge. AF Vet, thank you for being a member. I appreciate that. Just so everyone knows, I'm on my phone only, so I can't see member chats as they come up. Right, I'm on the road here, so figured I'm in my van. I'm stuck here for like an hour, so I'll do it live. AF Vet says, I had a DBQ entered into my claim today, but the RO will not let me see it. Yep. I'm hoping my VSO will send it to me. So frustrating. They probably won't send it to you. A lot of VSOs will just show it to you if you're there in person, and if not, which they don't have to, if not, then you have to request it with the FOIA just for the CMP exam result. You don't have to do your whole C file. Billy Hartman says, to become a member, you can click on the CIVDIV and there's an option to join. Oh, thank you, Billy. Appreciate that, because I don't know. Prison Junkie, thank you for your great videos. Thank you. I just filed 8 claims today. I'm nervous as hell. Yeah. So for all your claims, Prison Junkie, you need the big 3. The in-service event, the current diagnosis, and the Nexus. The Nexus is not required that you submit it, but it is required for your claim, and the CMP examiner is going to make the Nexus, all right? Your in-service event, meaning your evidence from service, and your current diagnosis, that's chronic, becomes the foundation for the Nexus, right? Essentially the DBQ. Nicole Jenkins says, they denied migraines, high blood pressure, denied all my claims except tinnitus. How do I link them to tinnitus? Yeah, Nicole. Be very wary of YouTube videos telling you that tinnitus is a hidden gem and you can get 100% from it. Because although technically it's true, it's not the whole truth. The question is, does your evidence, yours, not mine, not someone else's, not some template, does your evidence for migraines and tinnitus show the connection? Right? It's not a one-size-fits-all. This snapback is a one-size-fits-all. Right? Migraines secondary to tinnitus is not presumptive, meaning that your evidence has to show that your migraines stem from your tinnitus. I'm saying it like that because it's very unique, it's specific. Every veteran has specific evidence. I would also look at competing evidence. You know, in a Borne scenario, let's say you have head trauma from a construction job and it's been reported on and the VA has that evidence. Your migraines could come from there, right? So it just depends. But to answer your question, you need evidence to show the connection, okay? Nemo, following a service-connected stroke, I developed a brain cyst. Thank you for being a member, appreciate that. I'm rated at 10% for the stroke, but would the cyst fall under a new growth? I would submit the claim, yeah. Submit the claim. AF Vet, blood pressure 30 at CFR is crazy. Yes, hypertension is one of those ratings that suck, okay? If you have a high rating for that, you're probably gonna die. Is obesity a VA disability? Magician, the answer is yes, no. It's not a compensable rating, okay? But the VBA will recognize your obesity stems from service, and it's actually an intermediate step. I have a whole video on obesity, if you just look it up, obesity as a, for VA disability claims, it's an intermediate step, okay? Prison Junkie says, never deployed, can I file for PAC's Tera claim, exposure to motor propellant gases causing asthma and rhinitis? So PACT Act's over here, Tera's over here, they're different. If you were exposed to toxins, that would fall under Tera, so the answer is yes. It depends on what you're talking about. I don't know about motor propellant gases. I was a motorman. That says 0341 there in a really big douchebag style. I am unaware of any propellant gases you're talking about, right? So it seems like a stretch to me. Discerning Dash, I am in SFL TAPS. Now they are saying I should do a full physical and before getting out, and noting all my issues. Is that needed for me since I've been to clinic? It is needed, okay? One, it's required, so yes, outside of VA stuff, it's required. Two, for a BDD claim, the separation health assessment is required, right? The VA form for that is the ASHA if you're not doing a final physical. But yes, Discerning Dash, you need to annotate everything that's wrong. That is your absolute last chance to double down on evidence you already have and to present new evidence, right? Saying my knees hurt. Simply Robbie Rob, latest info on sleep apnea rating decrease. I hear the website has June listed already, can't find it. You can't find it because there's no update, okay? There's no update, and I understand the YouTube world is making it come back. There's no update. No update, all right? Also, sleep apnea is not decreasing. That's fake news. It's staying the same. The question is, are you able to use your CPAP or not? If the answer is or not, then it stays the same. If the answer is yes, then it's going to be lowered to 0%. Now, that's not for you. That's for all the other new veterans, okay? New sleep apnea claims. Drone Outlook says, hit the like button. Thank you very much. Yes. If you get value from this, hit the like button. It helps me reach more veterans, okay? All right. Eric AF Vet, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Absolutely. And holy baloney, we got a smackaroo here. Let me find my spot. I'm on my phone only today, so it's a little harder to navigate. Dude, Big Brother Motown. Man. Damn, dude. Thank you very much. Seriously, I appreciate that. I just wanted to say thank you. Because of your advice, I decided not to pay $2,000 to a consulting company. Just made my appointment with a doctor outside the VA. He wrote the Nexus letter for me, no problem, on the way to 100%. Absolutely, right? I just made that video not that long ago. There's a misconception that these claims companies own IMO DBQ providers, and they don't. That's two different businesses. You're essentially paying for a middleman for no reason. If you know you need a Nexus, just go to the Nexus person, right? Why would I? It's kind of like Uber, all right? I can Uber eat my McDonald's, which would cost me a lot of an upcharge, or I can just go to McDonald's, right? Same thing. So if you know you need a private Nexus and private DBQ, or not need, that's not the right word. If you're considering that option, just go straight to the source. There's no reason to sign $1,000 to a middleman. But thank you, man. Big Brother Motown, seriously. Thank you very much. Keep me posted on what that looks like for you. All right, Adam Schmidt, thank you very much, man. Seriously, you donated yesterday too. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me scroll down just to make sure there's no questions here. All right, I'm on my phone only, so if there's no question within the super sticker chat thingy, I can't find it. So, just food for thought. Heads up. Okay, Boss Girl Zoe says thank you, appreciate that. Danny says, I had an MD do my Nexus and DBQ for PTSD and now have my CMP coming up, so I guess it wasn't enough. No, that's not the case. The VA loves, there's a few things happening, okay? The VA likes to overdevelop claims, 1. 2, you have the IMO and DBQ, right? That's going to come in clutch if you have to do a higher level review, depending on what other factors are there. Another factor is your Nexus and DBQ sufficient, right? So you say for PTSD, immediately I'm thinking of the criteria as to who can complete that, and it's right there on the DBQ, okay? What is your evidence from service? What does your stressor look like? Those are some other factors. Robert Long, thank you for everything you do. Thank you, appreciate that. Tracy M, can the VA reduce you for filing secondary claim? I wouldn't word it like that. Can the VA investigate a rating that you have based on a secondary? Yes, and I think the best example of this is like nerve damage in your back. So let's say you're claiming radiculopathy, sciatica, sciatic nerve, whatever. Okay, if your back is rated, it's on the same DBQ form, radiculopathy and your lower spine, your back will be looked at. So in that case, yes. When you talk about like sleep apnea, secondary to PTSD, it's extremely uncommon to evaluate the mental health there. Teddy Woodson, can you tell us about your journey? How long did it take you to get 100%? How did you handle denials, if you had any? Yeah, Teddy. So this is the short version. I have a full version of this for members only because it's a bit personal to me. But I got out in 2019. I went to see 2 VSOs, right? The first VSO I went to was with the DAV, and it was a older gentleman. And when I say older, I'm talking like 75-ish, okay? Who, just by speaking with him, I could understand something was weird there, okay? So I decided not to go through that VSO specifically. I went right next door, and I'm in Virginia. The Department of Veteran Services of Virginia, the DVS, I used that VSO. I originally got to, I want to say 70, maybe 80. But then when I went back, I was like, hey, there's things that I know I was seen for, but we didn't claim because I didn't know. And that person's advice was, hey, you already have a good rating, don't touch it. And I wasn't down for that at all. And so that's when I started learning the process for myself. Then I started submitting my own claims, and then in 22, I want to say, maybe 21, COVID kind of, messed my years up. Got to 100, right? The denials I did have, I didn't fight for them. I could if I wanted to, but I did have a 0% rating that I had to do a higher level review on for migraines. Okay. Option C, thank you very much, brother. Seriously. Hey, Clay, doing my retirement exam, or exit exam, took your advice and listed everything I've been seeing for the past 20 years. Absolutely. That exit exam is crucial. It's crucial, okay? For the members today, I'm on my phone only, so I'm not able to get to your chats as they come up. Just heads up. All right, but thank you for sharing. I definitely appreciate that, Option C. And good luck to you on your next chapter of your life. Jacob Bays, the VA appointment went bad about him filling out the DBQ. He said he would send me to PH and they could fill it out. Went back and forth for an hour. Yes, that's what sucks, Jacob. The video I just posted yesterday about the secretary's statement, which he did say, right, at a town hall, the only way we make change is if every single person complains. And I'm very serious about that. If the secretary says your provider at the VA should be filling out DBQs, then that's it. That's the standard, right? Everyone wants to talk about standards. That's the standard. Do your job. That's the standard. Yeah, Teddy Woodson says, my VSO sent me CMP exam results. That's awesome. Some will, some won't. Just depends. So many false videos about tinnitus out there. Yeah, it's because, technically they're true. You can connect, migraines, anxiety. I've seen sleep apnea connected to tinnitus, but it's not like everyone says it is. It's not a one size fits all. And so I really hate seeing, 10% for tinnitus can get you 90, it can get you 100. I hate seeing it. Technically it's true, but not in the fashion that it's being spoken about. Billy Hartman says, are there any recommendations for how long someone should keep their personal statements? Or depend on type of claim, paragraphs? Yeah, lengthwise doesn't matter. What matters is your statement supports the evidence you have, okay? So if I was doing a statement on my migraine, for instance, I would say something like, hey, after my deployment in 2012, I was seen for migraines during my post-deployment health assessments. After that, I started taking over-the-counter medication for years. In 2019, I was diagnosed by the VA for migraines, and here are my symptoms. Bang, 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 bang. And all of your symptoms need to be accounted for through your primary care, because that's who we talk about. We talk to you about our health care, right? So statements are best used when they support your evidence. When statements support zero evidence and then it becomes a self-report, that's when statements are baloney. TJ McHelney says, so I had an HLR right after I got 60, but then got an attorney and beefed up my claim and did a compensation claim and got 100%. Can the HLR affect my rating? The technical answer is yes. Will it? No. Okay. The VA is not going to reduce your P&T based on a higher level review. You're fine, especially one that was already in the system. Congrats to you, by the way. So that's great. Okay, the Donut Man got diagnosed by CMP exam for eye diseases. Been getting treated for that and dry eyes for years at the VA, but got denied because it wasn't diagnosed in. What now? Yeah, so you weren't diagnosed in, but what other evidence do you have that suggests your eye conditions came from service? Clearly there's no medical evidence there, so that's what you were denied for. So now you have to think, well, what did cause that eye condition, right? Was it service? Let's start there, because if the answer is no, then you don't have a claim, right? If the answer is, well, it could be, okay, now we're starting somewhere. What from service led to your eye conditions? And you start from that evidence other than medical. Yep, ATX Pet Patriot says there's not a diagnostic code for obesity. Absolutely correct, but it can be recognized as an intermediate step. And there's a policy, there's a memorandum that states that I cover in some video somewhere. How often do you file for an increase? My last CMP exam was good and bad. Instead of filing supplemental, can I just file another increase? Yeah, so the supplemental claim would be to reserve the effective date there. To answer your question of how often can you file for an increase, that's the wrong question, right? The question is, has your condition gotten worse? If the answer is yes, there's an increase there, right? Well, two-part. Has your condition gotten worse, and are those symptoms that are worse rate the higher criteria? That would be the answer. Mark Simonson says 12 years, Army, 6 back surgeries, severe knee surgery and shoulder injury. Think I can use weight gain as an intermediate step to diabetes? Possibly. Okay. 6 back surgeries is a pretty big deal, so I think I got an argument there. Adam Schmidt says a lawyer who specializes in IU said that in very unique circumstances, you can receive IU with less than what VA says on the sides. Yeah, you can, right? Migraines is a good example. If you were only rated for migraines at 50%, and your migraines cause you to not be gainfully employed, with migraines alone at 50, you can be awarded TDIU. So there are a few others like that too. It's all spelled out in the M21. You just gotta kind of search for it. There's a whole video on that too. If you go to CIVDIVonline.com, follow migraines, and you'll see the M21 policy on that. All right, Justine Santiago says currently in the process of a PTSD claim submitted VA form. Yep, putting as much as remember, but they came back and said they need more info. Should they fill out new form for more information? So that was probably the VA just doing their due diligence, making sure that you don't have anything else. But if you have any more evidence that the VA doesn't have, then submit the claim or submit the form that they're requesting. If not, then you're good. Adam Schmidt says he said they use the words in the hospital frequently, which is misleading. Have you heard this? Adam Schmidt, give me some context there. I'm confused on that one. Oh, I see, on your IU question. Yeah, exactly what I said about the migraines is not necessarily in the hospital frequently, it's what the M21 says. 2-3 actual. Question, had a CMP for PTSD. Even though I didn't ask for an increase, I went to the appointment anyway, and doctor said he was going to put me in for an increase. Can they do that? Yes, they can. And you, sir, sound like you had a re-evaluation, right? And it seems like it was favorable. All right, Sabrina Spot. Can you file a primary and secondary condition at the same time? Do you advise it? Answer is yes, you can file a primary with a secondary at the same time. The only time I will do that, or I would recommend or advise it, is if you have the evidence. So answer that question. Do I have the evidence? If the answer is yes, then go ahead and submit the claim. If the answer is no, you still have the intent to file date to get the evidence prior to submitting. And so you have a whole year to do that, right? But if you have the evidence, submit the claim. If not, don't. Larry Myers, flat feet, service connected 30%. All right, that's a pretty solid rating. I don't see a question there. AF Vet says this Marine is a gift. Thank you very much. Thank you for being a member as well. I always respect Marines while in service, the President's own, and in this case, the veteran own. Thank you, appreciate that. Joey Jojo Shabadoo says you have a dent on your head. Oh, no, I don't. You got a dent on your head. Okay. ATX Patriot says for PTSD specifically, the initial diagnosis of PTSD must be provided, verified by the VA. Yes, it does. Absolutely. How do I connect sleep apnea to mental health? You got to go on correlating factors. There's no causative link there, right? It's essentially a correlation factor or aggravation basis. So correlating factors, mental health, anxiety, PTSD would be one of them, gabapentin, obesity, other factors like other respiratory conditions, breathing in heavy particulates in the Middle East, all of those combined build a strong correlation there, okay, to be service connected. I had a dental operation done while in service. Upon being woken up after, the doc told me I lost a bit of jawbone. Could that lead to a dental service connection? It could. You need some sort of diagnosis there, okay? But there is like chipped tooth, chipped dental conditions that you can file for. Jaja Graham, can you please explain favorable findings identified in this decision? A nexus or link has been established between your claimed issue and the in-service event or injury. Immediately, that sounds like a higher level review. That's very weird because if you have the nexus, that means you have the in-service event and the current diagnosis, which is required. So it sounds like based on this comment alone, a higher level review would be in order. Okay. Now, can I see if I saw the decision letter, I'd have a better answer for you, but it is weird. Ivar, any reasons one with 100% PNT would potentially have a CMP exam the following week when no claims are submitted? I'm wondering if you had any other, so maybe the VA awarded your PNT and they're still working your other claims. That could be a reason, okay? There's some context here that's missing, but you're a PNT, so you got that going for you. Yep, option C, correction had listed everything I've not been seen for. That's even better. You would want both. KW Brown 1, can I be employed and file for TDIU? You can, absolutely. Figo Castillo says, I'm rated 70% for PTSD, and I filed for insomnia and anxiety. Insomnia, anxiety, depression, so I have a review on Tuesday for an increase instead of a new claim. Is that the way it works? Yes, because those are the same. Those are all the same. The VA rates symptoms. They don't rate the diagnosis. Mike Wilson says, what's up, Clay? How's it going? Web79 says, if you applied for GERD and maybe you might fall under IBS, will the rater automatically fix it? They're supposed to, okay? But it depends. Chris, I've been denied mental health twice. Did a initial and supplemental. Can I keep appealing with another supplemental and or HLR? Okay, hold on. I've been denied mental health twice. Did an initial and a supplemental. Yes, you can. You can do a high-level review on the supplemental. You can also supplemental a supplemental. All right. Now, I would look at why you were denied. I would start there before you even decide on where you want to go, and then get evidence for that. Mural Streeter says, is there a form you have to file for a queue, or should I just call the VA office, got approved for compensation, but effective date was wrong on decision letter? That's not a queue, right? You would just do a higher level review on the effective date. All right, Justin, can the VA lower the rating while a claim is active? Yes. Then once it's for, yes, they can. It was rated 70% and lower 60, then went to 80. Yes. There's a lot of context there, obviously, but yes. The Donut Man, thank you. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate you. God bless. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, Ken Thompson. Hey, Clay, any idea why HLR is taking nearly a year? So any timeline questions, no one can answer, and I know that's a poopy answer, okay? But no one can answer timeline questions, and it sucks. How long is this live going to run? I am going to leave where I'm at right now at 5 Eastern, which is in 48 minutes. Gennaro Romero says, if I do supplemental claim beyond May 19 for GERD, why be rated under new rating? I was recently denied claim GERD secondary. The connection there, it's a whole new claim. Okay, so if you file that after May 19th, the answer is no. Because it is supplemental, but you're changing the basis of sleep apnea. KT, I just finished my 3rd and 4th CMP exam. It has been going well. I hope that wasn't for the same condition, because that would suck. Unbroken. I see a lot of videos on migraines, but I've not seen any that discuss the Gulf War presumptive for headaches. I made one, actually. If you just look up multi or MUCMIs for VSOs, you'll catch it. It's also not presumptive, okay? It's not presumptive in the same sense of like a PACT Act claim. It's an undiagnosed illness. It gets a little bit choppy. You're definitely gonna have to watch that. Do you have an email? I'll have a personal question. I will have an email soon, okay? I'm building a team currently of essentially VA claim assistance people that do it for free. More to follow on that. Had my appendix taken out in service, can I link this to IBS? I'm not too familiar with the appendix on why your appendix would be taken out. I know it's very common, so at first glance I want to say no, but then again, if your IBS led to it, then sure. So it just depends, Eli, on what that looks like for you. But if you had it during service and something happened during service to cause that, I would submit the claim. Let the VA do VA stuff. Military Retirement Podcast, thank you very much for joining another stream. Appreciate that. Got my VA rating last year. Would like to file for the rest of the things I missed during the first time around and try to bring my rating up. I was told to wait a year before filing for more. Is that true? Nope, not at all. If you have the evidence, submit the claims, right? Your intent to file lasts 1 year. When you leave service, that last day of service, not including terminal, your actual last day, that becomes your intent to file. So within that year, you have that 1 year window. After that, you have to do a whole new intent to file. So yes, if you have the evidence, submit the claim. Don't worry about anything else. Simply Robbie Rob says, medical records show toxic exposure from Gulf War. I have sleep apnea with BiPAP. Should I file OSA via Tera? So you don't file for Tera or PACT Act claims. You just file sleep apnea. Can you be connected via Tera? Yes. It's not common. Okay, it's not common at all. I've only seen it twice. Christina Avila, what's up, bro? What's up? Because it's not presumptive, it's Tera, meaning it requires an opinion. J Free, I understand you need a Nexus, but how much treatment is needed to claim depression and anxiety secondary to chronic pain? Can the CMP examiner make the Nexus? The CMP examiner is required to make the Nexus, right? Either yes or no. It's not, you don't need treatment for those. What you need is evidence showing the connection, okay? But yeah, it's very common to see, oh, I gotta get gas. It's very common to see, we might drive to the gas station, fellas and gals. It's very common to see like a severe lower back claim with severe knee conditions lead to depression. All right, 3,000 degrees. What does your rating have to be for a minimum of TDIU? If you Google TDIU VA, you'll see the answer right there. There's 2 criteria, but in some cases, it can be others as well. Like a migraines on its own could rate TDIU. So it's not a cookie cutter answer. Yep, exactly what ATX Patriot said, right? Combine single 60 or combine 70 with at least one of those being 40. That's the standard, but again, there's other connotations to that that's not listed on the website on va.gov. Gabster says, thanks CIVDIV, you helped me gain knowledge needed to help me get my rated fairly. Got out during COVID at 30 to now 90. Hey, congrats to you, man. That's a huge jump. And I'm glad to be a part of that process for you. Ivar says, don't know if CMP exam. VA does not seem to be aware of any appointment. However, Optum coordinating transpo for some kind of exam. I need context myself, so ask out of curiosity. If a contract company has a date and time for your appointment, then you go to it. And I will just reach out through them specifically. Happiness says, hi, what's up? PACT Act asthma question. Hubby falls in 10% FEV1, but Dr. Nexus reads I have recommended therapy shots and makes them as well as 2 times per day per inhaler. All right. The decision letter states they reviewed all evidence in dbq and letter. Toxic Bigot checking in. Welcome. Yeah, Happiness. It depends on what. I mean, higher level. If you think the rating is low, then do a high level review. I assume that's what your question is. It's not here though. Krista Easton says my VA therapist has encouraged me to file several times. I'm just too scared. That's you know, there's no good way around that. It sucks, and it sucks balls. I don't want to tell you get over it and file. That's not going to be helpful. But at the same time, you're losing a lot of money and benefits that would help you with your mental health. You know, money can't buy happiness, and I think that's the biggest lie we were ever told. It absolutely can. right? And especially for mental health, that would at least lower some financial stress in your life. I don't know what your life looks like. I'm going to assume there's some financial stress there. So if you think about it that way, maybe that would motivate you to just, you know, just kind of embrace the suck there. That would be the best way to say it. Embrace the suck. But yeah, I know it sucks. I actually just did a brief for the National Guard, the NGB, National Guard Bureau in Arlington, Virginia. And when I got to mental health, I choked up for a second. I had to catch myself. Brett Thomas, I had surgery for chronic sinusitis and claimed it. What should my rating be for it? Depends on what the result of the surgery is. Okay? If the problem still persists, it sounds like 50% for me, to me. And then if the problem healed itself, then it healed itself. You ain't got it anymore. So it just depends. Vizzle, hi CIVDIV. Is there any paperwork I have to fill out and turn in when I go back to work with TDIU? Yeah, you need to let the VA know, okay? You need to let the VA know. Animal Track says 140 plus viewing, only 31 likes. Come on, man, hit that like button. I appreciate it, okay? If you get value from this, hit the little thumbs up button. It helps me, helps more veterans. I definitely appreciate that, Animal. All right, Krista says, anyone in Florida that could help. Your Florida state has county VSOs. That would be my first option. Gennaro says, anyone link knee pain to plantar fasciitis? I've seen it denied multiple times. I've actually never seen it service connected based on secondary. But if you have the evidence, it's possible. You're going to need a stellar CMP examiner or an absolute solid medical opinion, I can tell you that. Gapster says, I do have a question though, in a HLR, what is the meeting I'm supposed to have with the counsel judge? Things weren't explained. We're talking two things here. I'm going to assume you just mean HLR with the informal conference. It's just that, right? A rater, the phone I'm using right now to stream, a rater would call that and just be informal. Hey man, here's what's going on. You requested an HLR with an informal conference. Tell me about your knee condition. And then that's it. You just speak about your knees. That's what an informal conference is. Keith Ridian says, so just finished my initial VRNE appointment. Counselor says I am entitled WANEH, not a SEH. I 100% meet the criteria for SEH, but she refused to say I had SEH. What motive would be denied? I don't even know what you're talking about. But that's VRNE. There's a whole Facebook group for VRNE by a lawyer. He runs the group. His name's Benjamin Krause. I think that's right. Look up VRNE on Facebook groups, and those are your VRNE experts. I'm serious. That Facebook group for VRNE is insane. But I don't know. There's some context here that's missing that I can't really answer that question. GLO says, how long will it take for a rating decision on PTSD after the exam, dbqs, stated total, and social occupational impairments? Should I wait to file supplement migraine? One, no one knows timeline questions ever, okay? No one can answer timeline questions. And two, for your migraines, if you have the evidence, submit the claim. There's no reason to wait. If you have the evidence, submit the claim. He was rated 10% on the FEV1. Should he be... Oh, okay. Yeah. Check out the asthma video, Happiness. And then if you have the evidence for that asthma being rated higher, then you need to do a higher level review with the decision, the rating given. Can I get disability if I've been med boarded for a condition not linked to service? Yes, absolutely, right? If you were driving home and you got in a car accident and you messed up your neck and that's what got you med boarded, yes, you can connect that. What type of claims would I file for a head injury while a patient at VA hospital. Depends what we're talking about, okay? That sounds like an 1151, or a tort, well, not really a tort claim, could be a 1151, but 1151 is what you want to look up. During HLR, reviewer identified an error that needs to be corrected before deciding case. Is this an indicator of a favorable outcome to follow? Been in a review for over 3 months now, thanks. No, it's not an indicator of a favorable outcome at all. It just means that the VA messed up. They got to go back and fix some stuff. And depending on what that error was, you might even need a new CMP exam. California Dave, just had my CMP for PTSD. MST claim only lasted 30 minutes. Should I be concerned? No. No, you should not. Timeline doesn't matter. Depends on like how efficient that examiner was and how much evidence did you have for that claim. Sarah says, I had 2 medical conditions left out of my CMP. Reached out to the VA. They couldn't tell me what's going on with them. One was the increase and one was new, provided medical records. What were the conditions and what are everything that you claimed? Maybe you're going to have a new CMP exam. Maybe those are going to be deferred. I don't know. Jacob Bays, can you file a secondary claim for a primary claim denied before that year up on that decision? You cannot file a secondary to a primary that's been denied. Okay? You cannot, if the secondary itself has been denied, even direct, you still need to do a supplemental. Brett Thomas says, what about chronic sinusitis that requires surgery? Depends on if the surgery works or not. Happiness, also if the CMP was examining for rhinitis, he told him to file for sinusitis, I think he should have just diagnosed it. He got 0% for rhinitis, even though he couldn't breathe. Could be HLR, you could also file for sinusitis. Keith Ridlin, okay, got it, yep. R. Russell, I was denied in 22 for adjustment disorder. The VSO submitted judge review in 23. Can I do a supplemental? You'd have to recant your appeal, but yes. You might want to consider a lawyer, to be honest with you. Okay. Thoughts on 90% P&T. Your TDIU. There's no thought to it. What's the highest you've seen for radiculopathy? I have seen 40% in each leg for radiculopathy, which is it sucks, okay? That level of, I think that's in the paralysis stage there. That sucks. Carl Hartley, hi Clay, I have a CMP exam coming up for depression appointment, and they asked me if I would have the meeting on Zoom. Is it okay? Either or is fine, either in person or telehealth. It does not matter for mental health. Cole, what should I do if a VA physician falsified my dbq and went as far as to say I was there when in fact I was not? Call the VA, write a statement, get that submitted with your claim. There's obviously more context here to the story, but based on this comment alone, you need to let the VA know, right? And I would do both, call and do a personal statement and upload that through Quick Submit. Eddie McFawley says, I just got diagnosed with sleep apnea. When should I go after that disability? Whenever you have the evidence, okay? I assume you mean secondary, so you're going to have to gather the evidence for that secondary. Okay, Mark Gerard says, I recent submitted an intent to file. I'm working on gathering evidence for 4 claims. Should I file each individually? No. No, I don't even know why you would even think that, Mark. file them all at the same time. File them all. When you have the evidence, file them all. Whoever's telling people to file claims individually, I'm telling you, they're an idiot. That was years ago, okay? Years ago. We're way past that. Don't listen to that advice. When you have the evidence, submit the claim. It could be 50 claims. It could be 3. I don't care. When you have the evidence, submit the claim. There's no reason to do them piecemeal. It makes 0 sense. KQ says 30,000 subs. Thank you, appreciate that. We just hit 30. Hoping to continue to grow the channel, and it helps when people hit the like button. VA got caught by my attorney withholding material evidence on 1151. Should I automatically win my claim? I'm gonna be real with you, okay? When I don't know, and this is one that I don't know. It doesn't happen often, but 1151 claims are way out of my wheelhouse. You have an attorney, that is who you should be getting your advice from. Not definitely from some turd on YouTube, on his phone, in the car parking lot of Walmart. Okay? Thomas Rivera says, love the CIVDIV, thank you. Valuable information, just got my award, thanks for what you do. Hey, thank you, I appreciate that. Fan for life. Appreciate that, man. The best way to support the channel is just like the videos, watch them all the way through. That is the absolute best way. Above all, that's the best way. So then, thank you, Thomas. Appreciate that. Lynn says, hi, Clay. Thanks for all the info you put out. You're welcome. I'm going to use it to help my co-worker that's never filed. Awesome. That's what we want to see, right? Veterans helping veterans. Actual help, not, Facebook help. Going through their service record now. I just want to help him get properly rated. Awesome, Lynn. Congrats to you. Doug Lacander says, so glad to be done with the whole claims process. Got my 100% P&T decision back yet. That's right, awesome. Congrats to your P&T. J Rip says, Gulf War vet here with sleep apnea with Tera participation granted. There you go, solid example. I feel like I was lucky. I wouldn't say luck, it's just, you did have a good CMP examiner. Okay, that's fact. And 2, it's just not common. It's not common to see sleep apnea linked through Tera. It's really not. Okay. Everest dude, is it possible for IU approval without CMP exam if you've been getting treated for the condition the past 4 years? Every claim is possible without a CMP exam, with the exception of a few like PTSD. So the technical answer is yes. The real answer is the VA is going to schedule CMP exams. Ben Sims says, just got my decision from my claim for increase on back. dbq claims I had 70 degrees forward. I barely bent over at all. Told them as soon as it hurt as it did. Sounds like a higher level review with the informal conference, Ben. Let the examiner, let the VA know what happened. Stuck at 90%, just got my sleep apnea denied. What's the best way to proceed? Why are you denied? Depending on that answer, you're gonna have to do a supplemental or a HLR or the board, which I don't really recommend for most. So yeah, just depends. Darkborn. The question I have is, I got denied a claim in 2019 for plantar fasciitis. I just claimed it again with a few other things in January, but I heard I should have done supplemental. Is this true? Yeah. You have the denial for plantars, you got to do supplemental. Chris Lancaster, did my intent to file for mental health increase? If I submit claim and new changes happen, will I get back pay? New changes, I can't answer that because new changes haven't happened, so it doesn't exist. But yeah, I mean, if you're rated on the new rating schedule, the effective date becomes when it was effective for the VA. okay? If you rate it on the old, right, assuming it comes out, then the answer is yes. QHUT, S, and the B will take the higher of the two. QHUT says SMC, L, aid and attendance qualifications got denied because I don't have. Yeah, you need to Google SMC, L qualifications, and that's what you need to do. Okay. Ben Sims about the low rating on the back. Held the goniometer thingy, but didn't actually use it. I thought it was because I clearly didn't go past 15 degrees and I was good to go. Yeah, sounds like a HLR. Do a personal statement, do an informal conference, and let the rater know your grievances, and you might get another CMP exam. J. Free, denied for back pain. I'm doing a supplemental claim with a diagnosis and Nexus. My denial states discomfort with extension. If I win the claim, should I be given back pay, painful motion? It depends on the time frame. If your supplemental is within that 1 year window, there's a few other factors too that we're not going to talk about. But the answer is most likely yes, if you are within that 1 year window. Julia says, hi Clay, can I file for lower back strain secondary to left knee? You can. Is it going to be connected? I don't know. What's your evidence to show that your back stems from your knees? Right? Is your knee 0 to 10%? Or are we talking like a severe knee condition like 50? Just depends. All right. Jacob Bays, if I worded it wrong, if you get denied on, say, sleep apnea, do you have to wait a year to try and file sleep apnea as a secondary? No, you would do a supplemental, and in the supplemental, you would say secondary to whatever it is you wanted to. You need evidence to do that. Happiness says, saw the bruxism video. Is the rating for the entire tooth being lost or the grinding down of the teeth? It depends on what the condition, what we're actually talking about, okay? Bruxism itself, there's for dental, there's multiple diagnostic codes, so it depends on what you're actually talking about. You'll often see bruxism symptoms roped under mental health as well. It's case by case. Jessica Martinson, oh I'm sorry, Everest Dude says, about the PTSD. Yeah, so if you submit a PTSD claim, the VA is going to verify the PTSD. That's it. Jessica Martinson says, when you file a claim, do you have to specify if it's secondary direct? Yes, you do. You do. Now the VA will look at all avenues of connection. So for instance, let's say you claim migraine secondary to tinnitus. The VA, and let's just hypothetically say you are a Gulf War veteran, the VA will look at migraine secondary to tinnitus. They can deny you for that. They can approve it too. The VA will look at direct service connection. They can deny you for that in the same letter, okay? And then the VA will look at Tera, and they'll deny you for that. So if you see decision letters, often have multiple denials roped into that one claim. Mark Gerard says, can you recommend a VSO in Fredericksburg, Virginia? Absolutely. I would recommend anyone in Virginia, doesn't matter where you're at, specifically Fredericksburg, Department of Veteran Services. And for Virginia, that's where I would go personally. That's where I went for my first claim. Cool, I'm going through wicked VA fraud involving Ohio workers' compensation in Dayton, Ohio. These criminals have nearly put me in a wheelchair over this. Is there anything I can do to have a private conversation? It sounds like you need to talk to a lawyer, right? But I don't do one-on-ones unless they are randomly. The one-on-ones I do are all random. Yes, Matthew Baumberger says, this reminds me to send an intent to file. The intent, yes. if you're watching this right now, if you plan on submitting claims, go to va.gov, click on File a Claim Online. It takes 2 minutes. The second you click that, you answer, are you active duty? There's a few other questions. Once you finish that, boom, you have the intent to file. It lasts for a year. Super, super, super easy. IZ says, I'm scared I'll get my 70% PTSD claim reduced or taken away if I go to therapy with the VA, and I've been having some good days. I'm also scared that if I don't get therapy, they will take away my claim. I have a whole video on this. In short, healthcare is important, okay? And seeking therapy does not mean that you're healed, okay? Our bodies actually get worse. Now, if you miraculously go in there and say, you know what, my depression is gone, that's something else, okay? But if you say, hey, I'm getting better at managing my symptoms, here's what I do, yada, yada, the symptoms are still present. They're just, you're able to manage them, okay? You're growing. Brett Carroll, I have pending appeals at the BVA since 18. Have a lot of medical evidence. Should I submit supplemental? You should submit that evidence with your appeal. Okay. The Board of Appeals is essentially a supplemental claim on steroids. You can submit new and relevant evidence with that. Femoral. Well, how come I claim PTSD and no CMP exam, but for other claims is normal? It totally depends for moral, okay? Everyone's situation is different. You cannot, veterans have got to stop comparing their claims with other veterans' claims. They have to. Take a minute. Stop comparing yourself. This is for everyone, not just for you. Stop comparing yourself to other veterans. I'm serious. If you do that, you're going to shoot yourself in the head. Stop comparing yourself to other veterans. Your evidence is not their evidence. Their evidence is not your evidence. Ben Sims says, thanks for the advice, Clay. Appreciate it. I'm sitting here. Yeah, I know it sucks, dude. When you're denied, or not just denied, when you're given a low rating, it absolutely blows. And there is a process in place to receive back pay for that, but it doesn't make it right. You know, I mean, it sucks. Toxic Bigot says, what possesses a VSR to award P&T outside the obvious? It sounds to me like it's almost discretionary. I wouldn't use the word discretionary, but it depends on the situation, depends on the symptoms and the conditions, okay? So for instance, your conditions have to be static to reach that P&T mark. If you have acne as a rated condition, acne can be cured, right? With creams, there's a medication called Accutane, all of that stuff works. And so it's likely that your condition will improve so that 10% for acne you have is not static. So unless your static conditions reach 100%, you're not going to be P&T. Figo Castillo says, I have been denied 6 times the last 35 years. That sucks. For my lower back and just got reopened for IDS. I'm not sure what that is. Review next week. Any advice? Thanks. Man, with your 6 denials for your back, there's no way I can give advice without looking at the evidence myself, okay? What's your in-service evidence? I'm assuming you have none. You have the current diagnosis, which is good. Are you working with a lawyer? There is a time and place where veterans need to consider working with an accredited attorney. Scott Malone says, the real question is why can't medically retired combat vets get decent jobs? They can. A co-worker of mine was medically retired after, I want to say 10 years, maybe 11, maybe 12. Medically retired. He was in the infantry. Okay, he's been there, done that, and I have a very well-established job. Okay, and he worked right beside me. So they can. Right? Don't believe all the headlines you hear on the news. You see on the news. Veterans, in fact, are not stupid. Okay. McCabe says, can you secondary a secondary claim? Yes, you can. you can secondary a secondary on a secondary to a secondary. El Gran says, I got denied for migraines because of no diagnosis, but I've been getting migraine medications from VA. How do I proceed? I did attach my diagnosis, which was overlooked. I would like to probably see that decision letter for myself before giving any advice. Because if you've been getting medications through the VA, right? That would be, depending on what we're talking about here, right? Tylenol does not count. I'm talking like sumatriptan. There's a few other ones, injections for treatment, right? And how long ago? Was that like 10 years ago, or was it last week? There's a few factors to consider there, but it sounds like a higher level review is in place based off of this comment alone. Antonio says, ooh, raw, devil dog. Sure, yep. A double, I'm a Gulf War. A double, I'm a Gulf War era vet, but never went to Southwest Asia. Does Gulf War presumptive still apply to me? No. You're not a Gulf War vet, okay? You might have served during that time, but that doesn't make you a Gulf War veteran. There are veterans of the Gulf War. You served in Gulf War era. That doesn't make you a Gulf War vet, okay? If you don't meet the time, location criteria of the presumptive, then you don't meet the presumptive. Sorry. Okay, Sean Wilson, are those VA claim services that you see on Facebook actually real and worth it? No. Well, they are real, okay? But no, they are not worth it. And just, I don't want to get into it on this live, okay? No one can guarantee you a VA rating with any type of speed related to it, okay? You know, go from 90 to 100% in 3 months or less guaranteed. That's a lie. Okay. El Grain says, also VA turned my mental health into PTSD and asked me to provide private incidents. I'm currently on pills for depression. Okay, well then you do what they say. Secret Sauce, welcome back to another stream, man. Longtime fan of the channel. What to expect from a foot condition CMP? Alex, yep. Foot conditions, we're going to be looked at all the same, okay? They'll observe your foot for everything, and then they will gauge your pain level. They might touch your feet a little bit, okay? It's a little bit weird. And then they'll have you stand on it, move around on it, stuff like that. And that's about it, right? Maybe some x-rays if you don't already have them. Dank Airsoft says, hey, big question. All right, let's see it. I'm going through my VA claims right now. My first claim, I'm claiming IBS, adjustment disorder, anxiety, depression, and tinnitus. I have military diagnosis for all of them except tinnitus. You're fine. Should I take a hearing test before submitting the evidence? You're fine. You're fine. Go for it. Submit the claim. Okay, happiness. Tinnitus is not hearing loss, by the way. Hearing loss is hearing loss. Tinnitus is ringing of the ears. Happiness says, if CMP examiner said the VA would not allow him to review evidence and has to write their own DBQ, is that a duty to assist? No. Well, I've read that wrong. I'm sorry. If the CMP examiner said the VA would not allow him to review evidence and has to write their own DBQ. Oh, okay. I'm going to imply that there was already a DBQ completed and the VA wanted the examiner to make their own DBQ. No, that right there is not a duty to assist. Okay. Autoran's Ranger, VA, I love that name. VA compensation is such a hassle. It can be. It can also be super, super easy. Okay, there's two ends of that. Once you get the rating, it's worth it, but the process and appointments are stressful. That's a fact. And trying to get more service connections and higher ratings are the worst. If you rate, see, I'm going to disagree with this one actually. And I know this is going to piss people off, but whatever. The VA process is complicated if you make it complicated. If you have the evidence, and I mean, when I say evidence, I mean the evidence from service and the current diagnosis. You submit your claims, go to your appointment. You don't have to look at CMP exams. You don't have to look at dbqs. Generally speaking, the process works, okay? Those who are denied and those who get lower ratings, that sucks, and it does happen, but that's holistically, that's the minority. Now, the people who are denied and get lowball ratings, they're going to complain the most. So that's what we see up here. You know, the loudest voice in the room gets heard, but the process does work. Not every time, and I get that, but the process does work. The issue is when veterans don't have the evidence, but then they complain, right? I can't tell you how many times people say, you know, they served in the Gulf War, 20, 30 years later, they have a diagnosis for a lumbar spine condition. They try to submit the claim, they're in their 50s, they get denied. And the reason is because they don't have the in-service events, and that's it. The VA is saying, hey, you got back pain, but it's not from service. Because guess what other 50-year-old has back pain? All of them, okay? So there's conditions stem from elsewhere other than military service. That's just the truth. These are the facts, okay? There's so much to dig on that. It's just, the process works as intended for most veterans. The process does not work for a minority. And that minority is a lot, right? A third of a million veterans is 333,000 veterans, which is a lot. So, food for thought. Jay Gray, never have good days with the VA when you talk. Well, you want your evidence to tell the story. Alderan says, I just need sleep apnea approved and I'll be at 100%, but I got my diagnosis 2 years after I got out. I have a CPAP, but was denied. Yeah, so, Alderan, you're probably going to need to go look at secondary connection for your sleep apnea, assuming that's possible. For Moral says, thanks brother for the advice, much appreciated. Hey, thank you, I definitely appreciate you. 8 more minutes and I gotta go, guys. I'm going to a baseball game. Can we get a copy of the CMP exam from our regional office? Yes, you can. And you've requested your entire C file. Yes, you can request your individual CMP exam results. Rocky Heidi says, I didn't claim radiculopathy in my initial claim, and it's been in the works for 6 months. How do I ensure my CMP examiner marked radiculopathy on my DBQ? You submitted the claim. You're gonna have a CMP exam for radiculopathy. There's no way. I mean, if you're implying to look over the examiner's shoulder and make sure they do it, that's the wrong attitude. Julia Villaman says, Clay, I would also like to say thank you for all the info and resources you share with us. It takes a special thank you. Appreciate that. Brian Fong says, I was National Guard deployed to Egypt. Does a 1-year presumptive period apply to Guard and Reserves? What 1-year presumptive period are you talking about, and for what condition? Right? There's no 1-year presumptive for everything. That does not exist. Tinnitus has a 1 year. Hearing loss has a 1 year. Not many have a 1-year presumptive, so I don't know what you're talking about. But can you file claims now? Yes, Brian, you can file claims now. Jay Grace says 100% P&T. Awesome, congrats. The date was 07. I filed in 2021, got 100% P&T back in March, but back pay was 2021. Yeah, you're not going to get back pay to 2007. Brett Carroll says, any scuttlebutt about whether Korea Force era Kosovo, K4 era Kosovo service will be added to burn pit? None. I've heard nothing about that. I've heard people complain about it, but nothing set in stone. What happens after a burn pit CMP? That doesn't exist. Chaos Doc 89, who should I use to help file CRSC, a VSO? Femoral. Also, I'm automatically in the burn pit registry. My time in Iraq, 2010. The burn pit registry is healthcare stuff over here, okay? If you rate PACT Act, The VBA is going to know that. You just submit the claim with the current diagnosis. The VA will do VA stuff over here. No reason to do not overcomplicate the process. Dank Airsoft says, awesome. Appreciate. Just subscribed. Hey, thank you, Dank. I appreciate that. Toxic says, what if I got burned by a lady of the night? That's funny. Yes, you can submit that. Yes, you absolutely can. Assuming, I mean, you need to have a current diagnosis, okay? But yeah, you can. Tom Kinder, 80% IU, any point trying to get 100%. Yeah. Why? I mean, if you have conditions to claim, go for it, okay? But you better make sure your evidence is airtight. To the horse. I can't get a straight answer on this. For BDD claim, is the intent to file your intent to file for a BDD is your last day of service, right? Not including terminal, not including when you submit the BDD. It's your last day of service. The VA is not going to pay you, or the government is not going to give you a DOD check and a VA check, right? It's one or the other. El Grand, CIVDIV, we do appreciate you. Thank you. I got 4 minutes and then I'm out of here. I have been getting sumatriptan from the VA since a month ago, but I was denied for migraines right before that. I guess I could do a submittal. Yes, you absolutely can. Depends on why you were denied though. William Wilkerson, 100% PNT for 2 years now, was denied pancreatic cancer in 2019. Is it worth trying? Again, it's now presumptive. The wife should be able to apply. Yes, absolutely. Autorans. The process was the hard first time. Second, okay, yeah. Agreed. Tony, I'm trying to speed through these to get as many as I can before 4 minutes are up. If I submit multiple claims with intent to file time frame, does back pay apply to all of them? Yes, the intent to file is the effect. Well, it depends on the effective date of the claim given, but generally speaking, yes. Kevin Zhao says, hi, submitted my BDD, did my exams, went to podiatrist. Turns out my foot has something different than what I thought. How do I update my claim? Just submit a new claim. If you thought you had flat feet, but now you have plantars, just submit plantar fasciitis. Alderan, I applied at 22, now I got 80, haven't complained at all. But as years go by, things get worse. It's just a matter of saying, yeah, you can do an increase. 20, if I submit multiple claims, we already answered that. Don't copy and paste, please. Currently at 30% PTSD, put in for insomnia, but they changed it. Yes, that's because they're the same claim. It's now an increase. McCabe says, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, McCabe. Perfect timing. If you get value from this, the only way more veterans know is if you hit like and subscribe, okay? Share it with a buddy. Secret Sauce, thank you very much, man. Big thanks to you and Doc, as always, Clay. I know you can make a fortune off us, but God bless. I'm definitely not making a fortune, I can promise you that. But Google AdSense does come in clutch. And thank you. I definitely appreciate that, Secret Sauce. Seriously. Thank you very much. Okay, 2 more minutes. I'm trying to... Tony Granville, you're an idiot. I hope you're still on here, Tony. Ben H. Claim for lumbar radiculopathy, lumbar spine strain at CMP exam 09. I mentioned radiculopathy. And 12 private MRI shows disc. Yeah, Ben. 2 things here. 1, this might be something you want to talk to a lawyer about, because that could be a pretty fat back pay check if you were supposed to be grading radiculopathy and you weren't. Maybe, okay? But at a minimum, I'm going to assume you have a current diagnosis of radiculopathy. You can submit that. Alright, for Mole, thank you very much for subbing. I appreciate that. Mark Gerard says, should I be concerned with jeopardizing my clearance? No, you should not. And Chaos Doc, thank you very much for the $1 donation. I did not see that. I appreciate it. We are almost at the end. Okay, we're almost at the end. I'm going to answer everyone's question now. Can I claim diabetes as secondary? Yes. Ed Alt. Rated for migraines, neck pain. Now want file mental health and sleep apnea secondary to migraines. That's a stretch. Good luck. Happiness is thanks, dude. Tell your wife I said hi. Wives are the greatest. Yes, not plural. Are you safe with 100% PNT? The answer is yes. Kevin Zhao, thank you. Alderons, it was nice to stumble. I subbed. Keep up the good work. Alderan, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Like, subscribe, share it. Do all the things for me, okay? For me, for other veterans, I'd appreciate that. I love you a lot. Venger, good info. Thanks, man. Thank you for being a member. I appreciate that. And last question of the stream. Yep, baseball time. I got a kid playing baseball here soon. Is service connected? You are currently service connected for that condition. With chronic lumbar strain, participation in Tera risk is conceded. I don't know what the question is, Joshua, so I'm going to leave it at that. Military Retirement Podcast. Hey, if you sub to me, I ask that you sub to Military Retirement Podcast. They're both Chief Warrant Officer 3s, recently retired. I do believe they're gonna be putting out some good content. I did a podcast with them. You can check that out. It would both support myself and them. Give them a sub. I'd appreciate it. And now I'm off to go see a bunch of kids that suck at baseball go play baseball. So have a good